What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Faith Over Fear. So glad you guys could join me today. Got a good topic, man, today. For those who may have been suffering or found themselves dealing with anxiety and hardships, trials, and now you're coming. And when you find yourself on the other side, of course, you're filled with joy, you're filled with gladness, happiness. I made it. It's a feeling of accomplishment, and you should feel very happy and excited and blessed and all of these feelings. But there is a trap that I've seen in my life and in my walk with God, and that's handling success in God. That is, how do I handle when I get the end result of my struggle and my waiting and my patience? Because it can determine if you find yourself back in the situation you were in. You know, I struggled with pornography for a while, and I would go months, I remember even a year without, giving into it and doing it. But, you get this type of mentality like, I've conquered it. And that's okay if you have. You should feel like you're an overcomer, but it shouldn't make you stop doing what you've done to get there. It's like a boxer, or we see it in sports. Like, we see people who athletes who they've reached that they were good in high school and college, and their dream has always been to get to the NFL, and they fizzle out. They get the money, and then it just kind of, because the drive left. They achieved what that goal, and then it kind of just fizzles. It stops. And that can happen in our walk with God. Whether we've dealt with anxiety, mental health issues, we've come through, a time of financial hardship, and now we got the job, and all the praying and the fasting and the relationship with God, it kind of dwindles. Kind of like a relationship. When you're dating, you're doing all the things, buying flowers, and when you get married, it kind of stops. It's like, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. But we'll see that that's not the right approach. And I want to go through some things with you guys. I got 3 points for you guys to kind of recognize and how to handle this success, how to handle, when you get to the top of the mountain. And the first thing is to stay humble and remember who blessed you. So literally, it's waking up with a spirit of gratitude. It's waking up every morning and giving God praise, and really in your heart, because I used to wake up and journal, and I thank God for this. I'm grateful, 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 and it could be that, even in itself can become very routine, but it has to be in your heart. Like, that feeling of gratitude and thankfulness, it must stay in your heart throughout your journey as you continue to go up in God and grow in God, because it's very easy to start to point to yourself, and it's okay. Like, it's okay, because you should feel strong and confident in yourself, because at a certain level you did persevere and you did push through. It was you, through the grace of God. It was you. You had to make that decision to push and keep going and have patience and stare fear in the eye and say, no, today I'm going to stand up. You had to be patient and say, God, I'm going to wait on you. So giving yourself credit is good. Like, you should have a good positive outlook on yourself and what you're capable of. I've done it to build up a hard mental mentality. You need it, but it can't be. Ultimately, it goes back to God. By the grace of God, always. It's never gonna be just, man, I'm strong. I'm this. I'm that. By the grace of God, I'm strong. Through Christ, I'm strong. Because we can forget, man. It's so easy once we get what we've been seeking. It's easy to forget, and you can find yourself slowly going back to things and letting down standards. And even in the Bible, and when the children of Israel were in the wilderness, in Deuteronomy 8 and 10, it talks. God was telling them, how basically, I'll paraphrase. He talks about after you received everything, like, don't forget. Don't forget who brought you out of this situation, out of your slavery. Don't forget about me. At the end of the day, and that's a perfect example of what happens, man. When you've gone through that hard time and you just want to relax, you just want to take a deep breath and enjoy it. And a lot of people stay there. And even in James, it talks about how every good and perfect gift comes from the Lord. That's a mentality that you should keep. That way, it's never on you, because it becomes your success becomes grounded in self. It becomes grounded in my abilities and me, and you can find yourself being very prideful, just full of pride, and that is a big downfall. And you'll start seeing yourself in bad situations. So when things are going good, man, keep thanking God. Even when it's good and there's and you can really look in your mind and say, man, I don't have any struggles right now. I don't have any issues. And then that's when the enemy comes in and, well, yeah, you should go celebrate. You don't got to pray today for what? What you praying for? What are you fasting for? Like you're not being tempted anymore. You're not in this sad hole anymore. Just take the day off, and you look up, it's months, and you haven't, that connection with God is dwindling. It's not because of God is not there. It's because you are pulling away. And so the second point is to guard your heart against spiritual complacency. And I just kind of touched on that, and that's kind of the meat of this podcast is. You have to be on guard, because again, it's so easy, man, for us to let our guard down. The battle is over. The war is done. Why do I need this armor? Why do I need this weapon? I'm gonna lay it down. I'm gonna let my guard down a little bit. And just relax and chill, man. I've been fighting for so long. And take a rest, take a rest for sure. But keep your guard up, because like I just said, the enemy loves to come in. Hey man, go get you a drink, and celebrate. Go, watch your little porn, man, go find you a woman, man. Whatever it is, guys, whatever it is that you've pulled yourself out of, this financial, you've been in a financial, and you get the new job, and now, okay, go get you a car. Go get this expensive car, So be on guard, because it's easy to let your guard down. And I've seen it, man, so many times, even in my life. Like, I just get complacent. I just get comfortable. I get in this, because we want to be comfortable, right? We want to be in this place of comfort. When change comes and we go through this trial and it pulls us out of our comfortness, it's hard. We never really learn to embrace the trial. We're so focused on getting out of it. that I think a lot of times we don't even learn what, we'll come out of it, but I think our focus was just getting out of it from the jump. It never was, what can I learn in this trial? Like, what did the trial teach me? So we're so focused on getting out of it that when we get out of it, we get we want to get back into our comfortable state. Like, we just want to be comfortable. And change, man, change is what levels you up. Like, to be honest, uncomfortableness, I don't know if that's a word, but being uncomfortable is what is going to level you up. That's what's going to, keep going. None of us should be wanting to stay where we're at, even in God, on your job, and whatever you do. Something's going to come in to cause you to go higher. And a lot of times it can be a illness, and I'm not saying it come from God, I don't believe in that, but the trials of life, it could be an illness, it could be a mental strain, it could be your marriage, it could be anything. It's coming not to break you, it's coming to make you, but the goal shouldn't be just to get out. A lot of times it's not the end result of the journey, it's the journey itself, that we should be focused on more, because if we're focused on just the end result when we get it and it's not really what we thought it was, and you're like, oh man, I've been doing all of that just to get here and I feel nothing. A lot of times you'll feel worse than when you first started. So dealing with anxiety for me, you want to get out of this hole of feeling fearful and scared, but the whole premise of it was for you to change. Like, the whole premise of it was not for you to go through it to get back to where you were, if that makes sense. It's not just, I need to get out of this. It's, how do I change to be better, so that I don't go back to allowing anxiety to control my mind. So don't get complacent. And 1 Corinthians 10 and 12, it talks about take heed unless you fall. You can feel like you've gotten there. I've arrived. I'm good. I'm just go on with my life. No, take heed, unless you fall again. The enemy's out there. In Revelations 3 and 15, it talks about the lukewarm Christian. It says God can't do nothing with you. And you'll just be where you are. You'll never grow. You'll be lukewarm. You'll be in and out. You'll be sinning. You'll be falling. You'll repent. You'll come back. You'll stay in that cycle. In 1 Peter 5 and 8, it talks about being sober and being vigilant. I had an experience with this recently where I was on YouTube and I was watching these guys. They started streaming. They were very funny, but the things they were doing was very ungodly. It was a lot of cursing, a lot of carousing, a lot of drinking, things that I don't even do, but I'm watching. And I started to see my connection with God just dwindling. I didn't know why. I wasn't being vigilant. I wasn't, I was sober, but I wasn't mentally sober. I was partaking in this stuff unknowingly until God showed me that, hey, this stuff is taking, it's hurting your spiritual connection with me. And so I had to stop. And it's okay, but we got to be vigilant, man. That's why we got to be sober-minded, because the Spirit is always going to open up and show us things. But if we're not in a spiritual, sober mind state, then we'll find ourselves, and then we wake up and we're deep in it and we don't know how it happened. So don't let comfort create carelessness. That comfort will create, I'm gonna just watch, man, like I could have done with this YouTube stuff. I could have just kept watching, just being careless. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna start listening to you. You just kind of like, you relax your guards, man. You get careless and you just start doing things that aren't really sinful, but they're not beneficial, man. How Paul said everything is, he said, I can do everything, but not everything is beneficial. You know, like I can play games all day, and you know, but it's not beneficial to me. Like, so don't get complacent when you get there. Keep going. You know, keep doing the things that allowed you to get to this place and allow you to build this strong connection to get to the level that you wanted to get to. And lastly, man, keep growing, serving and seeking more of God. That's always should be in the back of your mind. God, I want to keep growing. This is not the end. You know, I've obtained some things. I've gotten some results, but you know, and that's what keeps that's what keeps people going. That's what keeps the athlete, you know, that won one championship. That's what keeps them going. I want another one. I want to be the best. I want to be opposed to the other guy, the other athlete who says, you know, I just wanted to make it to the NFL. Okay. And when he gets to the NFL and he stops training, stops working hard, I've arrived, and he's out the league, you know, 1 or 2 years, opposed to the one that says, man, I want to be great. I want to win this amount of championships. I want to do this. I want to do that. Yeah, getting to the NFL was a goal of theirs, but it wasn't the end goal. And so we all got a race. This race doesn't stop because you've come out of, you know, your trial. It doesn't stop because you've gotten married. It doesn't stop because you got in the house you wanted. It doesn't stop because you made the praise team. It doesn't stop because whatever, you graduated. We got to keep going, and we got to stay grateful. We got to stay with that in our mindset that I can't let my guard down, and I have to continue to serve and seek God every day. And you'll find yourself just steady going up. You know, you'll find yourself steady going up. And so for those who are in fear, or you've overcome your fear and you feel like, you know, I'm at a place kind of like I am now, where anxiety is no longer, it's something way in the back of my mind. I'm very mindful now of if I see fear creeping in, if I see doubt and worry, I'm on top of it. I'm on guard. You know, I'm very vigilant and aware of, okay, worry's trying to come in and take over. I've been thinking about this too long now. I've been dwindling on this thought too long. I've been ruminating on it. No, God, no. That's not me. You know, you haven't given me a spirit of fear. And I'll go in the scriptures to remind myself, you know, of who I am now, of where I came from, where I'm going. And I don't allow that stuff to control me any longer. I'm very on guard, guys. And I wake up every day thankful. Do I have some days? Yeah. That I have to pull myself in. Yeah, but that was what the whole journey was for. You know, that's what we learned in our journey, how to be strong, how to handle those moments. You should have learned, you know, and I hope so. And I hope if you're in the journey, you're almost there. Start looking, what have I learned? What have I learned from this journey? What can I take with me to impart into my kids and to help change people's lives? Because that's what our journey is about, you know. You know, my brother said something. He said, you know, the fruit that the tree produces, it's not for the tree. It's for people to come and eat off of, man. And that's so beautiful. Like your trial and everything that you do that produces the fruit is not so you can just brag about yourself and say, man, yeah, I did that. I got to where I wanted. It's like, no, hey, pour into somebody else so they can eat off of your tree. So, yeah, guys, that's it for today, man. Handle your success well. You know, don't get complacent. Stay on guard, and keep seeking God, and you'll be in a good position. But I'm proud that you made it to where you wanted to go, and you've achieved your goals. But don't stop. Don't get complacent. Remember, faith over fear, guys. I love you guys. Be blessed.